When you look around you today, Stanley Cups are like little aliens aiming to take over our planet. They're everywhere right now, but some years ago, it wasn't so. One can only wonder the reason behind their popularity, but in this video, you'll fully understand. Before we talk about popularity, let's go back to where it all started. Stanley's story starts way back in 1913. That's over 100 years ago. Back then, a smart guy named William Stanley Jr., who worked with electricity, came up with something cool. He made the first ever water bottle that was sealed up tight using a vacuum. But get this, it wasn't made of the usual fragile stuff like glass. Nope, it was made of strong steel. People loved it, and they called it the classic legendary bottle. Most water bottles at the time were fragile, but not Stanley's. It was tough like a superhero among bottles. But fast forward to 2007, and Stanley decides to shake things up. They made a new product, which was a flask. Then, in 2014, they went even further and released a whole line of barware. Finally, in 2016, they introduced something really cool called the Quencher. It's like they took that 1913 classic legendary bottle and turned it upside down to make something even better. The Quencher is not just any ordinary bottle. It has this big handle that makes it easy to carry around, and its shape is just right for fitting snugly into cup holders in cars. But even with all these cool features, the Quencher wasn't as popular as other bottles like Hydro Flasks, Yetis, or Swells. It turns out Stanley stopped making and promoting the Quencher back in 2019 because it wasn't selling well. In 2019, the Buy Guide team decided to take matters into their own hands. They bought a whopping 5,000 Quenchers to sell on their site. And you won't believe it, but within just 5 days, all those cups were gone. Stanley, the company that made the Quencher, ended the year with a massive $70 million in revenue. Even though the Quencher was starting to catch on, Stanley's most famous product that year was still their classic legendary bottle in Hammertone Green. But things are about to change. In May 2020, Stanley made a big move and hired Terrence Riley as their global president. Riley transitioned from a chief marketing role at Crocs, where he had successfully managed the transformation of the once maligned clog into an internet sensation. Upon joining Stanley as its global president, Riley wasted no time in identifying the obstacles hindering the Quencher from reaching its full potential. He noticed that there was a lack of concerted effort to propel the Quencher to greater heights, despite its promising features. Additionally, the absence of new colors was failing to excite audiences. Hearing from his colleague Lauren Solomon about a group of influential women in Utah who ran the Buy Guide and had taken a liking to Stanley's 40-ounce tumbler, Riley drew from his experience at Crocs. He recognized that leveraging such influencer opportunities could be just the magic touch that Stanley needed. And indeed, they were proven right. The Buy Guide and Stanley got back in touch and hammered out a deal for affiliate marketing. This deal included featuring new colors for the Quencher. Now, some of the old school folks at Stanley weren't too thrilled about the idea of having pastel-colored cups. It felt like it went against everything their brand stood for. But the team at the Buy Guide strongly believed otherwise. They argued that a working mom using her Stanley all day to stay hydrated was just as strong an image as someone taking a water bottle on a hike. And they had a good sense of what colors would appeal to their audience. Turns out they were spot on. When the new cups launched in November 2020, they flew off the shelves in just 3 weeks. With this success, Stanley refocused its efforts. They aimed to attract new customers with fresh products and colors while still staying true to their roots. By the end of 2020, Stanley had introduced 2 fresh Quencher colors, Cream and Desert Sage. These additions led to an increase in sales, and by the close of the year, the company's revenue had climbed to $94 million. It wasn't an overnight sensation. Rather, it was a gradual progression over several months. You could see it happening as waiting lists started to grow. This allowed the company to make better forecasts and bring in just the right amount of products while still maintaining some scarcity to spark excitement and demand. In 2021, the water bottle company took things up a notch. They rolled out 10 new Quencher colors and tried out various forms of marketing to keep the momentum going. As sales of the Quencher continued to soar, Stanley decided to share their impressive numbers with major retailers like Target. These retailers were impressed and started putting the stainless steel cups front and center in their stores. And guess what? They couldn't keep them on the shelves. They were selling out regularly. In 2021, Stanley made history. Their revenue for the year shot up to a whopping $194 million, a staggering $100 million increase from the year before. And with that, the reign of the classic legendary bottle as the top seller came to an end. The Quencher had officially taken its place at the top. In that same year, the 40-ounce Quencher travel tumbler, sporting its fresh cream color, became Stanley's hottest-selling item. It seemed like out of nowhere, it just went viral on social media and became a sensation. During the first half of 2020, the Quencher made a splash with the release of 12 new colors and 3 new sizes. It also teamed up with big names like Olay and Starbucks for some limited edition collaborations. Tumblers were flying off the shelves and selling out online so fast, there had to be a limit of 2 per order imposed just to keep up with the demand. As the Quencher water bottles reached more and more people, consumers began to ask for changes to their favorite internet-famous water bottles to better suit their needs. In 2023, Stanley made another big move by introducing Stanley Creates. This platform allowed customers to personalize their Quencher bottles with custom designs online. It was a hit with fans who wanted to make their bottles truly unique. But that's not all. Stanley also teamed up with country music sensation Lainey Wilson for some exclusive collaborations. These special editions sold out in less than 25 minutes, showing just how popular they were. Additionally, Stanley partnered with Starbucks for a holiday collection that flew off the shelves almost as soon as it was released. But why is it so popular? We have already discussed some of the reasons behind Stanley's success in the market, but more features make this cup a top choice for every consumer. The handle is a real game changer for the Quencher. It's what sets it apart from other water bottle brands out there. That side handle? Totally unique. It gives the Quencher its own identity in a crowded marketplace. Plus, it practically forces you to hold it, since it won't fit into a backpack's water bottle sleeve or anything like that. But here's the cool part. Everyone holding it becomes a walking advertisement for the brand. It's like free advertising wherever you go. This strategy is similar to how hydro flasks became so popular. Their bottles were too big to fit into regular water bottle slots, so people had to carry them around, essentially becoming walking billboards for the brand. And that's how the Quencher is making its mark too. The shape of the Stanley Quencher is another genius feature. Its narrower bottom is designed specifically to fit perfectly into cup holders. Everyone gets mad when their water bottle doesn't fit in my car's cup holder too. So, for a lot of people, this was a major selling point. Also, scarcity played a huge role in the success of the Stanley Cup. Initially, Stanley wasn't ready for the overwhelming demand it would bring. At one point, the waitlist reached a staggering 150,000 people. For most of 2022, their products were constantly sold out. It's a classic case of people loving what they can't have. The scarcity of the cup combined with its price tag only added to its allure and brand prestige. The high demand and low supply made the Stanley Cup seem even more valuable and desirable. It became a must-have item, sought after by many. Finally, marketing and influencers played a crucial role in the success of the Stanley Cup. In 2017, 3 women launched an Instagram e-commerce blog called The Buy Guide. Just before the Tumbler Cup was released, they gave it a glowing review and shared it with their friends and followers. This contributed significantly to its popularity. However, when Stanley discontinued the cup, fans were devastated. The Buy Guide quickly sprung into action and worked with Stanley to bring it back. Every time they posted about the cup, it would sell out almost instantly. In 2021, Stanley saw a whopping 250% increase in sales of their new best-selling hydration category, which included the classic Stanley Cup. The cup would sell out with almost every restock. Additionally, there was a 40% increase in sales of Stanley's coffee and tea category, and their Camp Cook sales saw a staggering 1,000% increase. So overall, Stanley was just ahead of everyone in the game and made great decisions both in design and marketing. It's unlikely they will fall off the cliff anytime soon, and they can only get better from here. We've come to the end of today's video. Do let me know how many Stanley Cups you have in your locker. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel to get updates on the latest video. Catch you in the next one.